The creation of the Primarchs. The Primarchs were the emperors of mankind's most ambitious creations, designed as genetically engineered demigods to lead humanity's resurgence during the late 30th millennia. They were created to serve as generals, leaders, and symbols of unity for the Great Crusade, a campaign to reunite humanity under the Imperium. Each Primarch was endowed with superhuman physical and mental abilities, making them unparalleled in combat, leadership, and strategy. Beyond their individual roles, their genetic material was used to create the Space Marine legions, linking each legion's traits directly to its Primarch. For example, the feral Leman Russ influenced the wild nature of the Space Wolves, while the stoic Ferrus Manus shaped the Iron Hand's obsession with technological augmentation. Each Primarch was unique, with traits tailored to specific roles. Sanguinius, for instance, possessed angelic wings and unmatched charisma, inspiring his legion and allies alike. In contrast, Perturabo of the Iron Hands excelled in siegecraft but bore a bitter and resentful temperament. While the Emperor envisioned the Primarchs as a unified pantheon of leaders, their individuality created a foundation for future rivalries and conflicts. This dynamic would later play a pivotal role in the Imperium's most devastating civil war. Before the Primarchs could mature, the Chaos God disrupted their gestation, scattering them across the galaxy in an event known as the Scattering. Each Primarch landed on a different world, their environments profoundly shaping their development. Horus Lupercal, the first rediscovered, was raised on the hive world of Synthonia. He developed a balance of pragmatism and charisma that made him the Emperor's most trusted son and eventually his war master. In contrast, Mortarion grew up on the toxic world of Barbarous, under the rule of a tyrannical overlord, fostering a hatred of weakness that later made him susceptible to chaos. These varied upbringings created distinct personalities and ideologies among the Primarchs. For example, Conrad Kurz, or Night Haunter, grew up in the lawless city of Nostramo, developing a harsh, fear-based sense of justice that bordered on madness. Similarly, Angron, who was enslaved on a gladiatorial world and fitted with the agony-inducing butcher's nails, became consumed by unrelenting rage. The Primarchs' diverged paths influenced their later relationships with the Emperor and each other, sowing the seeds of loyalty, mistrust, and rebellion. The rediscovery of the Primarchs marked the beginning of a golden age for the Imperium, as each was reunited with their respective legion and became key figures in the Emperor's Great Crusade. Robert Gilliam, upon his discovery on Macragge, turned his homeworld into a model of governance and military organization, establishing the Ultramarines as the largest and most stable legion. Leman Russ, the Wolf King of Fenris, led his space rules with ferocity and loyalty, embodying the primal strength of his icy home world. Meanwhile, Rogel Dawn of the Imperial Fists became the Emperor's trusted builder, fortifying the Imperial Palace on Terra in preparation for future conflicts. However, tensions arose among the Primarchs due to their differing philosophies and personalities. Lorgar Aurelian, the spiritual leader of the Word-Bearers, was reprimanded by the Emperor for venerating him as a god, a slight that pushed him towards chaos. Similarly, Perturabo, the master of siege warfare, grew resentful of his thankless role and envied the recognition given to others, such as Dawn. These rifts within the Primarchs' ranks foreshadowed the devastating schism that would later erupt during the Horus Heresy. The Horus Heresy was the most catastrophic event in the history of the Imperium, sparked by the corruption of Horus Lupercal by the Chaos Gods. As War Master, Horus betrayed the Emperor, leading 9 legions in a rebellion that plunged the galaxy into civil war. Many conflicts were pivotal, including the Drop Site Massacre, where loyalist forces were ambushed and decimated on Istavan V by traitor legions, crippling the Imperium's ability to counter Horus's advance. The war culminated in the Siege of Terra, where Horus forces laid siege to the Imperial Palace in an effort to overthrow the Emperor. The heresy's climax was both tragic and decisive. Sanguinius, the angelic Primarch of the Blood Angels, heroically confronted Horus aboard his flagship, but was killed. The Emperor, grievously wounded in his final battle with Horus, struck down the War Master, but the cost was immense. Entombed on the Golden Throne, the Emperor's survival came at the price of his active leadership, leaving the Imperium in a state of stagnation and external vigilance. The heresy shattered the brotherhood of the Primarchs and left the galaxy in perpetual turmoil. 2 of the original 20 Primarchs, the leaders of the 2nd and the 11th Legions, were erased from all records. Referred to as the Forgotten and the Purged, the Emperor himself ordered their removal, and even the surviving Primarchs avoided mentioning them. The reasons behind their erasure remain one of the most enduring mysteries in the Warhammer 40k lore. Some speculate that these Primarchs committed acts of such profound treachery that even their memory was considered too dangerous, while others believe they were exiled or destroyed by the Emperor to protect the Imperium. This deliberate omission has fueled endless speculation. Theories ranging from chaos corruption to catastrophic failures during the Great Crusade. Their erasure adds a layer of intrigue to the Imperium's history, emphasizes secrecy, and shows the ruthlessness with which the Emperor guarded his vision. The fate of the 18 known Primarchs diverged dramatically after the heresy. Among the Loyalists, Rabute Guilliman, mortally wounded in battle, was revived in the 41st millennia and now leads the Imperium as Lord Commander. Lyon L. Johnson of the Dark Angels disappeared after the heresy, but is believed to slumber within the rock, awaiting for the moment of his return. Vulcan, the immortal Primarch of the Salamanders, vanished, with legends claiming he will reappear during humanity's darkest hours. The traitor Primarchs, however, embraced chaos and ascended as demon princes. Fulgrim, from a paragon beauty, once a paragon beauty, now serves Slanesh as a serpentine daemon prince embodying decadence. Angron, consumed by rage, became the daemon prince of Khorne, leading his corrupted world eaters in endless slaughter. Magnus the Red, driven by vengeance, serves Senshed as a master of sorcery and manipulation. These fallen Primarchs continue to lead their Chaos legions in an unending war against the Imperium. This ensures their legacy of destruction endures. The Primarchs' influences continue to shape the galaxy millennia after their time. The Codex Astartes written by Rubote Gilliman, remains the guiding doctrine for the Space Marine chapters, dictating their organizations and strategy. Loyalist Primarchs are reserved as saints and icons, with Sanguinius in particular celebrated for his heroic sacrifice during the Siege of Terra. Meanwhile, the traitor Primarchs, now Daemon princes, wage eternal war against the Imperium, their hatred for the Emperor driving their corrupted legions. Possibly the Primarch's return remains a potent symbol of hope and fear. Gilliman's revival and rumours of L. Johnson's awakening have stirred renewed faith among the Imperium's defenders. However, the continued presence of traitors such as Angron and Fulgrim ensures that the Imperium must remain ever vigilant. Right, okay.